So welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm delighted that we have with us Richard Carr, who's Director at Volta Compliance. So Richard, firstly, thank you for spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and Volta Compliance to the audience, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Yes, certainly. My name is Richard Carr. And I am the director at Volta Compliance. We are primarily an electrical contracting firm, but we have found our niche, which is electrical compliance. It's our core business. And to make ourselves stand out from the crowd, to be a bit different and to help solve customers' issues, we have developed a piece of software that runs alongside the services that we offer to centralize the paperwork and display a compliance dashboard, therefore saving, facilities managers and business owners valuable time and money so they can spend, their time on things that matter to them.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And there's a brilliant video explaining that on your website, isn't there? I was watching that earlier. It's a great video explaining and showing how easy it is to find certificates, find certification. And I think you highlight the point, know what your compliance situation is, because being non-compliant can be a real issue for some businesses.
Yes, well, it's one of the questions we ask our customers. We have to ask it in the right way, but generally it's something like, what is the current state of your compliance across all these services? And generally we find out people are like, oh, well, it's all in my head, or it's on a spreadsheet somewhere. So, when we discovered this, when we were asking these questions early on, we thought there's an opportunity here there's a solution, a problem to solve and a solution to provide.
Brilliant. So maybe if we start, Richard, if you could tell us a bit more about your background, how you got into business and why this particular one.
Yeah, well, I think that my initial aspirations were to be in the RAF, but went to the sign-up place on Wellington Street in Leeds, got ready to go in and do some chin-ups and sit-ups and prove that I could do it, and found out quickly that if you were colourblind, they wouldn't entertain you in the RAF. And I don't know why school hadn't addressed that. They tested me before and things like that, maybe. I don't know. For whatever reason, I wasn't advised correctly, I don't think, on that. Right. But went there, was hugely disappointed, and then ended up sort of picking something out of thin air and joining an insurance brokers as a filing clerk. If you remember, there were filing clerks. People might not know this. People of a certain age might not realise that people used to have big piles of files on the desk and somebody had to file them away alphabetically in filing cabinets. Well, Brilliant. That was, 45 quid a week, a train journey, bus journey every day, not earning very much, but had aspirations. I don't know why I had these aspirations, just had aspirations to do better. So I actually approached my boss at the time and said, look, I knew he was thinking of opening an office in Leeds, on Mill Hill in Leeds, and I asked him if I could run it as a junior, and he almost laughed at me, but I kept coming back with, well, look, I know I can do this, and I just had a burning desire to do something. Although it wasn't my business, it was part of the business that I could take responsibility for. So I did that. I was an insurance broker for a few years, and I went into mortgages, realised that really I'd hit the ceiling with regards to pay structure and benefits, and I didn't really get the fulfillment of selling insurance and mortgages. Not the type of insurance and mortgages I was selling was a bit niche, really. It was for people who couldn't really maybe get credit and things. So you almost felt like you were giving them what they wanted, but you almost felt like that they if they couldn't manage it before, how could they manage it now? So I didn't get any fulfillment out of it. So I decided to, I was telling my dad about it, and he said, why don't you come and work for the family business, which was an electrical contractors.
Right.
So I started from scratch at about the age of 25. I went to night school, and I had to go to night school twice a week and start my education again, learning the electrical industry.
Right. Yeah.
Which took me 5 years. I'm doing 2 nights a week. And then I started making the tea the next day as an apprentice electrician. I had no real background to it, other than being dragged out on a few jobs when I was a young kid with my dad. But I quickly progressed within the family business and became a partner in the business as it was then. So yeah, that was how I started out. And then the transition into my own business was one of a situation in my life that was the worst thing that's ever happened to me and the best thing that's ever happened to me. So unfortunately, within the family business, things didn't work out. There were more than one person involved in it, and people wanted different things.
Right.
So, if people are pulling in different directions, that doesn't always work out for the best. So I decided to go it alone 8 years ago. Started with £500 at Volta Compliance, bought an old Astra van. It's a bit of a situation that I had to get around to be able to achieve what I've achieved, and it really was the springboard to get into where we are today, which is a super successful niche electrical contracting provider who's got some fantastic customers. Our customers boast Lamborghini, McLaren, Pharmacy to You, household names and national brands. And getting there wasn't easy. And this challenge was probably one of the biggest challenges in my life. And that was that I had to leave my family for a whole month. This was just after spending the money on the old Astra van, and I only had £500 to start the business with. I had to leave my family for a month, my wife and my 2 boys. I had to work 10 hours every day for a full month, including Saturdays and Sundays, and not come home.
Wow.
But I earned a substantial amount of money, £50,000, which gave me enough money to invest into myself to grow the business to where it is today, which is just short of £800,000 turnover in 8 years, which I'm really proud of. It's a lot slower than I wanted it to go. I would have thought, and my targeting was much more optimistic than where I am today. However, there are certain reasons why I think that's going to change drastically moving forward.
Wonderful. Wow, what a journey. That's quite impressive. You mentioned that first challenge, obviously, of all those hours you had to do. But as you've grown since then, what are some of the other challenges and issues you've had to overcome?
Well, I think starting again at 41 years old and going back on the tools was, after being off the tools for 10 years, was a major challenge and quite humbling. But all the previous challenges taught me a lot of things. And one of those things was systemize and automate what you can in your business.
Brilliant.
So that you can make it into a scalable entity. So right from the beginning, we implemented Salesforce CRM, and we employed a freelance developer to customize that and build out a project management object. So within our CRM, we've got leads, opportunities, contacts, accounts, projects now, and invoicing. So we can service our business internally from one piece of software.
Brilliant.
It pulls things from different pieces of software. And you can go look into those individual pieces of software if you want. However, we've made it so we can work in one piece of software. So everyone in the business, there are now 10 people in our business, that everyone in our business uses that CRM, even the engineers in the field. They can create opportunities for further work or new work, or if they're asked by the client, which and automations happen all the way through the system. So from lead inquiry to invoice, anything we can automate is automated. An example is through the lead process, which is qualified, new, contacted, qualified or unqualified. Whenever we change the stage in the CRM, something happens. So if we create a new lead today, an automated email goes out and says, "Hi, thanks for your inquiry. Great to hear from you. Why don't you go have a look at our About Us page while we're getting ready to contact you?" Then we'll contact them. When we contact them, something else happens, and so on. Right through the sales process and all the way through the project. For an example on a project is when a new project's created, an automated email goes to the customer saying, "Hi, your project's been created. This is the number. this is our downloads page. You can get our risk assessments, method statements, insurance, and when the job is moved to stage scheduled, an automated email. So we don't have to, so we don't have to waste time doing things that can be automated, and we can spend more time with the customers, understanding their requirements.
Wonderful. Yeah, systems are so valuable, aren't they? It just means we can spend the people time with doing the right things rather than people time doing things that a system will cover for us and on our behalf. And I mean, alongside that, what are some of the biggest learnings you've had about business, how to grow businesses effectively? Systemization obviously being one. What other things would you say you've learned?
I think that mindset is massive. And I think that work-life balance is massive. And I'm not an expert at it, and I don't think I ever will be, but I think that working at it and seeing each new day as a new challenge and not beating yourself up about the day before when you didn't have your Himalayan salt in your water with your lemon juice in the morning because you didn't have time, doesn't matter because you can do it today anyway. So, mindset is massive. And, I have a group of peers who are other business owners and friends who I feel challenge me just naturally. They don't challenge me on purpose and say, "Here, do this," but they're successful, and I want to be part of that. And I think that if you surround yourself by people like that, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I also think that feeding yourself the right information, listening to the right podcasts, reading the right books, not watching the news, and not feeding yourself with negative information and things that are non-positive. Reading podcasts, books. I think all those things are great. And one other thing that's been a great thing for me is a cold therapy. I went to Poland for 6 days at the beginning of this year and spent 6 days in a remote mountain in Poland, doing cold therapy, which is lots and lots of cold things like hiking up a mountain for 5.5 hours in just your shorts.
Wow.
And it's the challenge, it's the mindset, it's the people that you're with. 100 people did it. We would do ice baths and all kinds of things that challenge your stresses in your body and help you to cope with things. So you can imagine jumping into a freezing pool. Immediately your body has to react, and you're learning to cope with that and bringing that back into your business life.
Brilliant.
So lots of tips and tricks there, and it might not be that particular thing for you, but it could be exercise. I mean, exercise is another fantastic thing that you can use to help your mindset. And as business owners, it can be quite a lonely place. Having somebody else to rely on, or a peer group or a coach or whatever it may be, then I think that can only be a positive thing.
Brilliant. Was that because I'm familiar with Wim Hof does the cold water treatment? Is that something similar to what
it was with Wim Hof?
It was with Wim Hof. Wonderful. Amazing.
So we did that for 6 days with Wim was there every day with us all the time. And then we also went to Amsterdam a month later to do some further breathing techniques with Wim again at his house. Probably only about 40 or 50 people there that time. It was really good.
Yeah, quite an amazing guy.
He's very popular at the minute.
With that, absolutely. And you mentioned coaching. I'm keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, or life in general.
I've worked with some of my business peers are Andrew Mason, who owns a company called the Pentest People. Wim Hof is a great, role model for me. He got me into Wim Hof incidentally. I think John McDonald has been pretty influential, who is he runs our peer group, Connect Yorkshire.
Great. Oh, wonderful. And through business, through coaching, work with other people, do you have any sort of favorite quotes or sayings that you find yourself using a lot?
I think I do, but I'm not sure I can rustle one up right now. I think I say lots of things and people look at me as if you're always saying that, but I'm not sure That could just rustle one up right now. Yeah.
Please don't worry. The one that comes to mind when you were talking about positive mindset is the the classic Henry Ford quote, which is whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And,
Yes.
and I think that's such a great one of just that fundamental of positive thinking. If we think if we think we can't, then we're already lost.
Yes, definitely.
So, wonderful. And what would you say, Richard, that you've learned about yourself throughout your journey so far?
That's a good question. I mean, being in business makes you analyze yourself quite a lot.
Yep.
But I would say that, don't be too hard on yourself. If things are not going right, you'll find a solution. That's what you are. You're a business owner. You've done it before. You'll do it again. It might be a different issue. Again, going back to the mindset and the positivity and the reading the right books, often you can learn quite a lot of things and tips and techniques that help you to be able to do that. But ask somebody, look to your peers, look to your friends, look to your coaches, look to your groups that you're in. There's plenty of people out there willing to help you, but do be careful who you take advice from as well.
Yes.
Take it all in, but make an informed decision. Yes. Don't just go with the first one, or make sure you contemplate and make sure it's the right thing for your business.
Yeah. I think that's why I very much favour it in what I do, a coaching approach, which is drawing out, not trying to tell. I think consulting is telling people. Coaching is very much drawing out. I was told, I think it's the first day of my training many years ago, that the word education comes from the Greek word educare, which actually means to draw out. Whereas, traditional education, I'd suggest, is pushing in, isn't it? It's telling people.
Yeah.
And so I've it's always sat with me, because I think, having a belief that we've all got everything we need inside us already is a good place to start. And it's just the coach's job to draw it out.
Yeah, we're all different people, but we've all got what it takes to do it. We're all human beings with the same makeup.
Absolutely.
And it's, I think if you're going to set off on a certain journey, first of all, you need to make sure that you understand what is involved in that journey, and that you accept the challenges that may come along with it, and accept the fact that it might not be a straight line to get in there. You might have to swerve around a few things and solve a few problems along the way.
Absolutely. I don't think there's ever been a business journey that's direct and straight line. If it was, we'd all do it. That's the point. That's why only about 4% of the population own businesses. It's because, it's a tough gig, isn't it? As you rightly said.
It certainly is, yeah.
So looking forward, Richard, what does the future look like for you guys? You mentioned some great things happening. What does the future look like, and what are some of the challenges you might face, if any?
We're experiencing some of those right now. So it's a pretty good example that I'm going to give you, is that we have 3 months ago, we employed a salesperson. Now we took 3 months in deciding with that person whether they would be the correct person for the job. Right. We didn't take it lightly. Yep. We had lots of conversations. We went back and forth, but we were genuine about the position, and both parties understood that it needed to be deliberated a bit more, because we wanted it to be right for both parties right from the beginning. Not let's spend a load of money on employing somebody and then say, oh, it didn't work, and then do it again. Let's get it right, word go. So we spent some time, 3 months, and then we put a proposal together for our salesperson, and we put a monetary target in place. Some people say it's better to put activity-based targets in place for people who join, who are new, because this salesperson had no experience of sales. So not an iota experience in sales or marketing. They were changing their career completely. So what we did was we took this person on, we set them a target, and they began prospecting, researching companies, looking at companies, who our ideal clients were, starting conversations, recording the information into the CRM, and trying to progress those conversations further down the line. We were doing it together to start with, because I'm the only salesperson in the company at the moment, so it made sense to do it together. But what I wanted to achieve was clarification that we were doing exactly the right thing, or we were doing the right thing, but how could we improve it? So we proposed to put our new salesperson onto a sales degree, which was incidentally fully funded and done at Leeds University.
Oh, well.
But takes 3 years. After a few weeks, we thought this is not right for us because we want the impact to be a little bit quicker.
Yes.
So we politely declined and thanked them for the time, and we invested £15,000 into a sales training course, which we're half the way through.
Brilliant.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's hands-on. It's somebody in your business every week, the same person.
Yep.
They are writing, helping you to write case studies and narratives, and so we already have a prospecting manual fully written now. We're just working on the sales manual.
Brilliant.
And right down to the blood and guts of getting on the phone and saying, well, this is how you do it. I mean, the second week she was in, she doesn't really know what we do. She went, just give me one of your prospects off your list of 30.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And she picked up the phone and she got us an appointment within about 2 minutes, and everybody was going, oh, that's how it's done there.
Brilliant.
So I love the hands-on feel. And we get 2 appointments a week. One is in person, one is on Zoom.
Yeah.
We invested the money, but already our salesperson has overachieved so much. I mean, quadrupled the target that was given to them.
Brilliant.
Then you were asking, your original question is, what are the challenges? Well, how do we deliver it all now?
Right. Yes.
We've got a team out there that are booked up until February next year. So how do we deliver that? And how do we? I think for me, the challenge that's related to that is, how do we grow the business further based on our core values, which are security, quality, integrity, and consistency?
Yep.
How do we continue that? Because whenever my experience, and I'm not saying this is other people's experiences, my experience of bringing in fully qualified engineers is, I can't find the ones that I want that will do it the way we want and provide the service that we give. The only way I've ever been able to achieve that is by training our own in-house apprentices and then progressing them into vans and fully qualified electricians. So we have that little battle now of how do we do all this work? How do we deliver all this work and still keep that same quality?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. It's a really interesting thing. The recruitment system we've operated for many years with our clients is based on the idea that, as you sort of said, most people recruit on experience but sack on attitude. So let's focus on attitude. But if we can find attitude and experience, and it takes longer and it's not as easy to do, but finding people that align with our culture and values and being clear that we want you to do it our way, they exist. They're just more difficult to find. So it is a longer journey to achieve it, I suspect.
Yeah, and going back to your sayings, I suppose one is don't hire for skills, hire for attitude, isn't it?
Brilliant.
You know, it's you know, like exactly what you said there. This person has got no experience in sales whatsoever, but it is a fantastic salesperson. It's about rapport. It's about nice to people. It's about sympathizing with people, connecting with people, meeting people.
Yeah.
All you need for that's a good personality. Somebody else can write the process.
Yep.
You can then deliver it. I mean, I know that's not the same, you know, I'm making it sound easy there. There's a lot of work involved in getting there, but, you know, personality goes a long way.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And just finding, and it for me, it does. But one of the ways to find people with a match of values is to market and recruit on values. You know, literally, these are the values. These are the things if you aspire to these values, then there's an opportunity here. If you don't, then please don't apply.
And there comes the issue with the engineers, because they have to have the skills to be able to do it. So I'm torn between, you know, I've got to find one with all the skills and the right attitude. That's the difficult part.
100%. No, I completely agree. It's just making sure that's what we lead with. But they do exist. You know, they do. It just takes longer to find them. Let's be honest. It's not. I think you said something about it's not easy. It's off. You know, the phrase I often use, it's simple, but it's not always easy. It is simple to do, but it may take longer.
Yes, that's right.
So I'm really keen. Obviously, it's really inspiring what you've achieved and where you're going. And what would you say to anyone that was thinking of going to business right now, Richard?
I would say that if you're thinking of doing it, do it, and get involved. Don't worry too much about perfectionism and having all this, your ducks in a row and all this. Start the process. If you have to go online and do your own brand to start with, you can always change it at a later date. Just test the water, get something out there, earn a little bit of money, invest it in yourself. Try not to borrow money if you can. That's just my personal opinion. I know a lot of people, it depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to take over the world, you might have to borrow some money. But if you're thinking of starting a small business, don't go out and buy a brand new Mercedes van and employ somebody, because it might not work, and then you are left with a load of debt. So take small steps, test the water, and just do it, and believe in yourself.
Brilliant. Love it. Absolutely love it. And if you started again, Richard, is there anything significant that you think you might do differently?
I would have outsourced quite a lot of tasks a lot earlier. So, outsourcing my bookkeeping.
Yeah, brilliant.
Things that I don't need to be doing because my job is to grow the business, to generate money for the business, to generate profit, and to look at the bigger picture. So, if I'm worrying about, reconciling invoices for a full day on a Friday, it's pretty much a waste of time. So when you can get to that stage where you can outsource something, outsource it if you can.
Yeah,
you can always bring it back in-house if you need to, or, eventually employ somebody to do it. But keep focused on your end goal as well.
Yeah.
Look at the end goal and work backwards. So look at the North Star, work backwards from there. How am I going to achieve it? Break it down into small bite-sized chunks and break it down into daily activity, and have a plan. Use your diary. Have a daily plan, a 90-day plan, and an annual plan, and a 5-year business plan.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, great advice. And finally, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do so?
Oh gosh, 18 years old. I'm trying to remember that far back. Hang on. So, if when you're 18 years old, I think for me, I was very much chasing, the next job that would make me a success. It's a marathon, isn't it? It's not a sprint. So be prepared to put the work in, because you're going to have to put a lot of work in. And be prepared to take on challenges daily, but enjoy it as well. And pat yourself on the back as well when you've done something good. Take your wife out or your girlfriend out for a meal, or your staff, or whatever it is. Brilliant. And celebrate the good times as well, because it's really important.
Wonderful. Very, very sound advice. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your time here. And it's been really inspiring. Your enthusiasm just shines through. And for anyone watching that might want to get in touch with you or Volta Compliance, what would be the best way to do so?
We can check out our services on voltacompliance.com, where you're welcome to DM me on LinkedIn, on my personal profile. And you could call us if you wanted on 0113 3971 361. Brilliant. Well, look, it should be great to swing by again another 6-12 months to just see how things are developing. Your sales guys obviously going from strength to strength, but what's going on there. So again, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to catching up with you again in the future. Okay, that's great. Thank you for your time. Cheers. Thank you.